Okay, welcome to the Karen Mitches podcast. Thanks for coming. Today I have Gee Gethiga.
Thanks for having me, Karen. Finally.
He came here in a full-blown snowstorm.
Oh, man, I love this stuff. I love comedy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're both from London, Ontario, so this level of snow is...
It's ordinary for us, I think.
Although I've been here a while, so I think I've become weak and I can't handle it anymore.
I can tell by your apartment. You're a very big city now. It feels like I'm in New York. It's nice. Do you have an artist day job? I don't know. I've never got into...
I work for a finance company.
Oh, okay.
I'm with an Excel document all day.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's not, I would love to be doing something artistic.
Well, comedy.
It's my only, I can't make anything. I can only tell jokes.
That's making something. My mom said something to me the other day. She was like, you got paid from something you thought in your mind and then wrote it down and then went and told it on stage and they paid you. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're making art.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't respect it and it needs to, that's a big thing for me. You got to respect comedy.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is art and it's hard.
It's weird, though, because I feel like we're I feel like we're in the same boat as graffiti artists and there's some other ones that I compare us to a lot. Yeah.
You think we're in that
Yeah,
vein?
we're an art, or within sports, there's the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I feel like that's who we are. But people like us more, but also we're not.
Yeah.
If you were talking to a guy who makes his living selling paintings, do you think he'd be like, you and me, G?
Yeah, but it's not the same medium, but I think it's very similar. I have this nostalgic thing about I hold comedy in a high regard. So it's I'll be talking to Uber drivers and I'll be like, I'm a comedian, and they're looking at it like, oh, cool hobby or something. All I do is comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I produce shows during the day job is more administrative, producing shows, and at night I tell jokes, and I make a living doing it.
That's amazing.
So I want to tell these young guys that you can do it, and don't let these other people project their negativity of just the niche thing that we do in the shadows. No, it's an important thing, I think.
But how do you find that producer end of it?
I've come to love producing shows. I know a lot of producer comics don't. I've come to love it just in terms of the empathy. I'm so empathetic of producers now. So I'll get to a show and I'll be and I'll start producing it now. Maybe you need to check that light needs to move and stuff like that. And then I'm on time. Wasn't on time today because of the storm, but I'm always on time, trying to be professional because I'm putting myself in the shoes of the producer.
Yeah. It's surprising how much goes into the show, and just the stage setup can F up the dynamic.
100%. Music, what you play before the show. I go to major comedy clubs and I see there's a psychology behind how they set up a show.
Yeah.
So they'll ramp up the music. They'll use a specific song right before to get people, the regulars, they know the show's about to start. And so there's a real, and there's a psychology behind even being a comedian. Do you go to a show? Do you watch full shows?
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan of comedians who just pop in. If they don't have another show, why would you watch the show?
Yeah, I'm not successful enough to have two shows in one night.
No.
So if I'm on your show, that's kind of my thing that I'm doing that night.
I do a lot of crowd work, so I always watch the host.
It's a big issue for me that I'm on shows where people do crowd work without paying attention to the show. So they show up, they're the fifth comic, and
Asking
they're repeating. It's so upsetting.
Yeah. Why do you have an eye patch? I did a show, but I did a show once, and there was a guy in the front row with an eye patch and a bandana, and 4 comics, nobody mentioned it.
Oh, shit.
I got up there and I was like, what is going on?
Okay, so it's a weird thing, though, because if you weren't paying attention to the crowd work, you got to do really original crowd work.
Yeah.
If everyone mentioned the eye patch, it would get weird.
Yeah.
But it's crazy if no one mentioned the eye patch.
It was the opposite.
Did he tell you why he had it?
I forgot what the reason was. It wasn't some benign, it wasn't exciting.
He just got some glue in there?
I think so. I don't know what it was. But And that's the other thing, right? If you just made a good point, if you're gonna do crowd work and you haven't watched the show, it better be like original.
Yeah,
like
come
weird,
up with
weird crowd work. I've started asking like really personal questions.
what do you get away with a lot of
Yeah. Just because I get lucky. I'm a big black guy, so I don't get heckled a lot. And so I also get like the benefit of the doubt for some reason. I don't know. So I've been told I look funny. Like somebody said they were about to go to the bathroom, but I got on stage and they were like, I think this guy looks funny.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have an advantage in terms of
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's like a lot of people, they look like they're probably just like the same guy before them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You look like an accountant, but I really like your comedy. Like I remember I like your you take risks. Like you'll do a whole performative like moon ritual.
Oh yeah.
Like that's I love that stuff, man.
Like most of what I do is like standard comedy, but then I'll just come out. I have a bit about blocking out the sun.
Yeah, I love that bit. And because I grew up on alternative comedy, like I love Dimitri Martin and all the there's Kaufman. Andy Kaufman used to do you know who Andy Kaufman is?
Yeah.
He was just this guy. He was kind of not even a stand-up, but he'd just do like he'd wrestle women. He'd go on like late night shows and be a different character, and just he was so weird. Love Jim Carrey, like just stuff like that, man.
See, I have a weird thing though where it's like most of my stuff fits into like the standard thing. So then here and there I do a bit about like all the McDonald's characters.
Yeah.
But I take it weirdly seriously and get political about it. But then I'm like, I don't know how to put that into my regular, like as I build out a longer set.
I think that's your
just weird shit.
Just get into it. Right? And that's just going to be part, especially when you start headlining and stuff. Like I've luckily started headlining and stuff. And now when you have 35, 40 minutes, you have time for all that. And I guess the transitional, but people pay attention to, you can just transition into it.
And now for something different, you know?
Just go stick a sip of your drink and then go into like weird stuff.
Did you find the transition into longer sets was intense? Like, did it come naturally?
I did it gradually. So that's how you do it. And it's tough. I will tell you right now, because you go from like 15-minute sets, and then where do you get a 25-minute set? There's not even many 25-minute sets. So you almost have to produce your own shows. That's where producing comes in handy.
So I just stopped producing my regular show because I was very bad at it.
By the way, you've never had me on it, Karen.
To be fair, it was a female-centric show.
Oh, was it?
So I only had a few dudes on there.
Was it Karen Mitches Bitches or something?
It was Funny Bitches with Karen Mitches.
I love that name.
But so I think I want to just do one-off shows where I headline.
Yeah.
And get like I was doing a Monday night, so that's fucking hard.
Yeah.
I want to just do like a Friday or a Saturday or at least a Thursday where it's easy to get all my friends. It's just like, this is the Karen Does 30 Minutes show.
Yeah. And I think you don't always have to do the 30 or 45. Maybe you say I'm headlining and I'm just going to do as much material as I can. And if it's 22 minutes, it's 22 minutes or whatever it is. I think people get caught up in the time.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So
like if you're not feeling it.
Yeah, and I don't like when I see a guy try to stretch out that last 7 minutes and it's not even jokes. It's just like,
even sometimes when I see a newer comic and they'll ask at the mic like, how long is it? And then you can tell they're doing 5 minutes when they only have 3.
Do 3 minutes and get off stage.
And a lot of the time, even now that I'm farther along, it's like I just wrote a new bit. Yeah. It's 2.5 minutes. Yeah. I'm just coming to do that bit. And it's enough to try to remember it. I don't need to fill the 5 minutes. I'm
a big fan of so as a producer, I'm never going to get mad. If I give you 7 minutes and you do a banger 5 and get off, I'm never going to be like, oh, why didn't you do the other 2 minutes? I'd be like, yeah, you had 2 more minutes. But I'll never get mad. What I do get mad is selfish comedians doing 17 minutes when you're supposed to do 10.
Or like, have you had people just, they're trying something new and it's like, don't try that at my booked show. Too dicey. Yeah, but I usually book pros. And when I do a ticketed show, I'm booking pros. Yeah. And like, I'll give a shot to like somebody who's on the cusp, like an amateur who's kind of like semi-pro. So at that point, I don't care what they do. I trust them. And it's like, if they bomb, they bomb. And then you're like, hey, you took a risk. I actually respect the risk, right? The moon
rituals. And I love all that stuff. And that's what I love about comedy, Karen, is like there's no rules to this thing. If I want to go up there and sing a song for 5 minutes, I can.
Do you have anything that's really odd?
I don't, but I want more stuff.
Yeah.
I want to, and that's why it's so fun. I'm only like 4 years into this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna push the lines, you know.
Were you still in London when you got started?
Yeah, I started out in London. I went really well, really fast, and then became kind of like the big fish there, and I had to challenge myself again and move.
So even though I grew up in London, I didn't do comedy till I was years into living in Toronto. Yeah. So I don't know London's stand-up scene.
There's a lot of people in your position.
Yeah.
And so now I'm bringing them back to London, and like their friends and family can come, but they don't know any other comedians.
Yeah.
Which is cool, right? But they can still perform there, and you feel comfortable. But
are we as Londoners proud of our scene?
I think I left it in a good place, and I think it's still in a good place. I think I got a lot of oh, there's nobody funny from London, and then I had to. I feel like I've helped change that.
Nice.
Where like people are like, when they hear London, it's like, yeah, you know, G. So that's a cool spot to be, and I can always go back there and do shows and stuff.
Sweet.
Sell them out, yeah.
I heard one guy was telling me his favorite mic to do in London is a gay club, and it's not a straight comedy open mic.
It's Sunday nights. I think it's at this place called The Well, and it's just like a open mic for musicians and everything. And that's cool. I think there's like 5 mics you can do in London on a week.
Oh,
that's
nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think the scene in London is actually one of the better ones in Ontario. I'm not going to lie to you. Like in terms of like getting on stage now.
That's cool. Yeah. I feel like London always surprises people when it comes to the arts because it's almost like it's far enough away from Toronto that it grows more of its own stuff as opposed to like a lot of places you're so close, people just get on the GO train and come in to do it.
Exactly. That's a really good point. Another point is I think there's really good comedians, just the confidence.
Yeah.
It's like they think this Toronto's such a big, they don't come into Toronto enough. And so I was one of the first comedians that was like consistently coming to Toronto, and like it's just another city. You know what I mean? Now I'm making, about to go to New York. I have a lot of connections over there. Yeah. So you just try to get bigger and better.
How did you end up with connections in New York?
It's while living in Toronto. So the New York comics would come here, and then I would tour with them and stuff. And because some Toronto comics have already made that move.
Yeah.
My best friend Zara's already down there. She's killing it.
Yeah. Zara's hilarious.
So Zara's a businesswoman, and she brings the American comics on tours, and we go on tour with them.
Nice. I like her. Like she was already, I think she was moving to the States when I got into the scene here. Yeah. So I don't know her one-on-one, but I follow her on Instagram and I love all her fuckery.
Bro. She's on my ass too. She's like, you need to post 3 times a day. She's got like 150,000 followers.
Shit.
Like I watched her go from 13,000 to 150 in a year.
Wow.
So it can be done quickly.
Yeah.
But she worked her ass off. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's just hard work.
What's your experience been so far touring?
It's been great. I love touring because I love geography. So I love researching the little towns. And I grew up in London doing these little hick towns around London, doing older white crowds. And like, I feel super comfortable. Like Toronto comics will leave and have a lot of trouble talking about the TTC and like Welland or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But you like an older white.
They like me. I don't know. I like challenges. And so I think in comedy, we're trying to get on the road and you're trying to be a headliner. I think that should be the goal.
Yeah.
And so you have to get comfortable doing road gigs.
Yeah. Do you feel like London also sets you up, like even before you leave town, like just growing up in London, it has like a small community. Yeah. Like a lot of people move there from little towns.
100%.
So it's not.
I do the yuck yucks there a lot. And it's like, oh man, it's wild. It's a lot of drunks. It's a lot of people from around. Like they make it a night. Like I'm coming in from Strathroy or St. Thomas, and it's like our big night in the city. And in Toronto, it's just like comedy is kind of in the routine.
Yeah. I feel like it's a thing to like drive into London and then you're having such a good time. Yeah. You can't find your car.
Yeah. You're definitely drinking and driving for sure. Have you lost your car in London? I have.
Like, I guess that we were from London, so I could always just like go get it the next day. We weren't driving home.
Oh man, because What's crazy about London is like I just thought a lot of stuff was normal.
Yeah.
And then when I left London, I'm like, this is not normal.
Like, it's just spending 45 minutes on a bus.
Yeah, and like I'd go to dudes would have their shirts off in bars and stuff like that, and I just thought that was normal.
I have some photos from when I was 19. I don't think it's my first time at the bar, but I think it's like my friend's birthday, and it's like my 10th time at the bar.
Yeah.
And our guy friends have like their shirts, the button-up shirt, plaid shirt open, and they've got the pitcher of beer.
Yeah.
And it's like a mug.
Oh yeah, I remember the picture. Where did you hang out in London?
So those photos were at GT's.
Oh my God,
was
GT's
that?
Thursday nights.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, a little bit, not much.
Like I feel like 10 years.
Yeah, we don't have to get into age.
Okay. But yeah, so we loved GT's.
Yeah.
We loved Call the Office.
Yeah. Love Call the Office.
So sad that that's not around
GT's
anymore.
was $2 beers on Thursday. $2 bottle of beer.
And I feel like at some point I hit up everywhere. Yeah. Like we weren't the typical Jim Bob's people, but that was always in effect. Yeah. I was walking through downtown the other night and I saw Molly Bloom's is still around, and I was like, I was briefly really into Celtic music.
Yeah. That's a spot now. That's like karaoke Sunday nights and stuff.
Nice.
I'm still tapped into that.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the Seeps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Western bar.
And that's the one on campus? Or no?
No, that's right on Barney's, that big patio.
Yeah,
that's connected to
Barney's patio was epic.
Yeah. So did you go to school in London?
Yeah, like I went to I went to South.
Okay.
Which is just south of downtown.
Yeah, I know.
You know South.
Yeah,
sorry. Where did you go?
I went to John Paul too, so it's in the Northeast.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But it was a good school back when I went. Yeah.
And then you especially get rural kids, right? At the big Catholic ones?
Yeah, we got a little bit. We got a lot of rich kids because at the time there was no school in the North End, which is a rich area. So it was just a mix of like East End kids with like rich money, and so they had the houses, the parents were gone, and we had the ideas. It was great.
That's amazing.
It was great.
That's a beautiful union.
It was a beautiful. Some of those guys are still my friends right now.
I love it.
So you went to South. Do you know that like South has produced like a bunch of NFL players and like?
Yeah, I just found out we had a guy in the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, Sidney Brown. He's a twin. They both went. They both went to South, and they both went to the NFL.
That's amazing.
And then another guy, Von Martin, who's closer to our age, he went to the NFL. He's my friend.
Like, I have no real comprehension of sports. Yeah. I didn't know which team to root for in the Super Bowl. So I was like, then finding out that guy, I was like, I guess I'm an Eagles fan.
You're the worst. That's why I don't go to like Super Bowl parties. I'm a hardcore sports fan. It's just like girls waiting for the halftime show, and it's like asking questions and stuff.
Have you been to like a tailgating party in the States?
I went to the Buffalo Bills one. It's absolute insanity.
Nice.
There's like girls. It's a club.
Yeah.
There's girls dancing. There's people doing all kinds of stuff. I almost got arrested. Oh man.
What was the?
we started a fight with another bus. So what happens is you go up there with these chartered buses.
Yeah.
And for some reason we got into like an argument with another bus, and the police came with the horses and everything.
Was it like you guys were one type of fan and they were the other?
No, it wasn't even. We're all this.
Was just.
We thought they threw a beer.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then we found out it was one of our guys who threw it. Just typical London stuff. So what made you move to Toronto? Just work?
You know what? I initially moved here just because I was bored with my life, and my sister was like, well, if you move to a new city, that'll shake things up for you. So I was like 26 when I did that. Okay. And that's how
That's still pretty brave.
Yeah.
I remember I moved out when I was 26. I thought that was a big deal. I was just like in London. I just like lived down the street from my mom.
Aw. But were you really tight with your mom?
Yeah. I don't know, like when I was younger, I didn't like my mom. She's just a strict woman. I think I was telling you, she was just a nurse and worked really hard and like provided for us. And then as you get older, you're like, oh damn.
Were there a lot of kids?
Just three. I have two siblings, and I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Are you middle?
Youngest?
Okay. You don't give me those vibes.
Yeah?
No.
I could see you as the youngest.
Yeah, because usually the comedian is
Yeah.
Is the comic
Although
relief,
maybe
right?
that's why you're a producer.
Yeah, maybe.
You gotta like look out for everybody else.
Yeah, I never. They do say the youngest is usually the comedian though.
Are your younger siblings funny?
Yeah, my sister's. I don't know if she's funny, but she makes you funny. She laughs great, and like she's a great add-on. You know what I mean? I don't know if she could tell jokes or whatever. And then I have an engineering brother who's super serious, so we're very different.
You gotta always have one serious person in your family.
I guess so. I wish we were all clown, but I do come from a line of like my grandma was like this, like village roaster. She just like roast everybody. She was involved in everybody's business and like she was like this celebrity in her village and stuff.
Where was she from?
East Africa, Kenya.
Amazing.
And so they owned a bunch of stuff out there and businesses, and so they were like the pillar of the community. And so, yeah, she was a character.
That's so fun. So she was around when you were growing up?
No, I would just go back. We would go back every once in a while and visit, and then she would come here.
So was that wild going to Kenya?
It was, man. It's a culture shock because it's like no electricity. It's on the farm. It's like real rural, like no electricity. We're feeding the animals. Like,
oh my God. Crazy. Did you see like crazy, like a giraffe?
Yeah, but they're not like here. It's like you got to go like northern Ontario to see a giraffe.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like to see a moose.
So you're just seeing like a farm.
But there's monkeys and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they hate monkeys. Monkeys are raccoons.
Oh no.
Right? You got to think about it like that. So like monkeys steal food. Like my grandma hates monkeys. She's just always talking about how she hates monkeys. And I'm like, oh my God, a monkey. You know what I mean?
Can we keep him as a pet?
Yeah. She's just like,
you're like naming them.
People don't clue in that like that's what it is over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
I get how a raccoon would be amazing for people who didn't know about them.
Yeah. They look kind of cool.
They're very cute.
They look like a little bear.
Yeah. A fun little bear.
Even me, I don't see raccoons that much. Like they say Parkdale where I'm from, there's a lot of raccoons, and I saw a couple coyotes.
Oh shit.
Like I was walking home one night and a coyote just passed me.
I don't understand how we have fucking coyotes in our cities.
Because we're taking their land. That's why. That's what racist people will say. Why are these natives people here? It's like it's their land. Like
we gotta do like a land claim acknowledgement for the coyotes.
Oh my God. We
stand here on the historical land of the trash panda.
Yeah.
And his companion, the coyote.
Yeah. My boy Cringe Kev has a land acknowledgement joke about we're really on the dinosaurs' land.
Oh shit!
So we have to acknowledge that the T-Rex were here first. It's so good.
We are in an ancient lake bed, though.
Yeah, I feel it. Do you feel close? Are you a water person?
I am.
I am too, and so I've directed my gratitude towards water and general gratitude. But like I try to drink a lot of water every day. And thankfully we have clean, awesome water.
Yes.
Yeah.
I find I'm one of those people too, like my showering for me is like a big part of like my emotional state.
Yeah.
Like,
do you cry in the shower?
Not often.
No, we've all cried in the shower. You don't have to be ashamed of that.
But that's kind of just like one of my happy places.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody like I used to cry in showers after one night stands.
Oh God!
And so I'm like, how many one night stands were you having?
Don't do it, man.
Yeah, how many one night stands were you having? Like, I was like, that's my victory shower.
Yeah,
it wasn't happening that much.
Oh. Are you in a relationship now?
Yeah, I started seeing somebody, which is super weird because I haven't been in a relationship in a long time, and so I'm trying to adjust my time because I was just all out comedy.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Do you find like when you're back to it, you're like, oh, I forgot about this?
Yeah, and some of the stuff you're like, I don't miss this.
Like sharing your time.
Yeah, and like, yeah. But there's also amazing stuff about it, right?
Yeah. So you're infatuated at this point?
Yeah, I'm in the honeymoon. Yeah. I think we're all addicted to honeymoon phases, right?
It's amazing.
And then it wears off, and then you have to actually like the person.
But this is like, I feel like it gives you like the spring in your step. So it's like you can use it for other things, right? Because you have more like optimism and confidence right now than you will at this time next year.
Maybe.
So you got to like.
For sure. But I made it clear at the beginning. I said comedies is the priority right now.
What did she think about like you being a comic?
I met her at a comedy show.
Okay.
So that's a key. That's good. She liked my comedy.
Nice.
And then it was one of the first people that I had dated that I hadn't met on an app for a long time, which was interesting. And I'm finding more and more people not meeting on apps anymore.
No, I'm not dating right now, but I was just saying to a friend the other day, like when I go back to it, I want to do speed dating.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole period where you don't even know the person and you're texting with them, and sometimes that just turns out they won't come meet you.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then maybe you meet them, they're nice, it was a fun hang, but there was no chemistry. Yeah. So why not go to speed dating? There's like, you know, a bunch of guys there. You can just see if you actually have chemistry with them rather than waste a bunch of energy.
Yeah. I think chemistry is a little overrated too. I think there's like, if you spend enough time with somebody, why do you think coworkers and like those kind of situations, I think people can grow on you.
See, that's like slow burn chemistry.
Yeah.
Like I always found being in school was amazing because it made you hang out with a lot of people over time. And the people you remembered at the beginning of the classes, the hot ones, were never who you liked at the end.
Yeah. So I think we have this ADD culture and like swipe culture that they do one thing and like even like the words we're using, ick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't like these words because it's like, oh, one thing they do you don't like and it's gone. It's like
it's almost all of Seinfeld is them getting stuck on someone's ick, and it's like, and part of that show is like these are not good people to emulate. Like her hands were masculine looking.
As I get older, don't you find you're getting into Seinfeld situations so much?
It's like and I always just thought like the show was what it was, but it's very much. It's for adults.
Absolutely.
Like you have to kind of be rooted, like stuck in your life.
And like 30s, 40s, you know what I mean? Larry David, just one of my favorite writers. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of my favorite shows ever.
He's such a weird guy, right?
I love it. I think you have to be, he's an interesting guy. But I have so much in common with some of his situations.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, yeah.
See, you seem to me like a lot cooler than him.
I am, but I'm also like, I'm very weird in ways. Like, my interactions with people can be very weird.
Okay.
But I force interactions too because I'm this guy who's always trying to like, I'm a crowd work comic. I do a lot of crowd work. And then... So I'm also weirdly doing crowd work like at the bus stop sometimes or...
Oh my God.
Or just talking to strangers. Like I'll go out with other comics and they'll be like, you're weird. Why are you talking to people in the pizza shop? And I'm like, I just love people.
Yeah. I have a friend, just like one of my girlfriends is like, she loves talking to strangers and I travel with her and she's like the best person to have around because she just is having the best time and we make friends. She's amazing on a trip, but like I don't think I'd take her anywhere to like go do errands because she'd talk to everybody.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
And then do you slide in after she kind of does?
Like she'll just like bring a bunch of people to us, so it's great to like make friends, but it's also like she'll bring a weird character into the mix that like you don't
that's
like
fun. That's not
one
fun.
time we were standing outside a comedy club and this like insane girl started talking to me and she was like wanting to come into the open mic with us and Marnie was like gonna bring her in and I had to be like, Marnie, she's not wearing any shoes. But like she's just like her energy is constantly like open and like pulling people to her, and I'm in my day-to-day life I'm like, no, don't make eye contact with me, stay away. So when I travel, I have to like work at the opposite to try to like.
Do you think the majority of the world is like you, or it's like, because like a lot of movie plots are about this accountant, and then something wild happens, and their life like they meet this person, it turns their life upside down. Yeah,
well, I think it's got to be. I think it used to be half the world was one way and half the world was the other way, and that's how you formed couples. And now I think like more of the world is like down to business, and it's why our culture is fucked up.
You say more of the words, is this like serious and down?
We're like trapped in a logic spiral. It's not a good thing. It's not like we're smarter, we're just like trying to be systematic, but it's making us crazy.
That's a really good point. I never really thought about it like that. because I stopped drinking a few years ago, and so like a lot of things are my life is organized, and when you come to one of my shows or you know what I mean, I'm pretty organized, but I still have a screw loose. Like I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And like I wear that on my like as a badge of honor. Like I'm still weird, and I think it's important to be a comedian. I think it's still got to be kind of weird.
I like that you have I'm also sober.
Yeah.
But
you offered me booze.
Yeah, I have booze for my guests.
For your guests,
but
okay.
I also have weed drinks.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't have to get sober from weed. I hate it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So do you smoke weed?
No.
No, okay. I've slowed down a lot with the weed.
So you're California sober?
Yeah.
But did you have to, like, were you, with the giving up alcohol, was that just like a better my life, or was it like I had it?
I had to do it. It was a couple of things. I went to Dominican Republic and just got so drunk, and like I got back and I was sick and got back and went to the hospital, and they were just like, man, you got to make some lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of forced into stop drinking, and then realized it was the best thing ever. Comedy started going good.
Nice.
And like, if I didn't have comedy, I probably wouldn't have stopped drinking though. Because I replaced the drinking with the comedy.
Yeah.
And it was hard at first because you're sitting there at shows, everyone's drinking, and you get there's boredom, right?
Yeah.
I feel like drinking speeds up time, right? Because you lose chunks of the night. Now I'm like sitting at a club, and I'm like, oh, this is a long time.
I found it with just like, I used to think holidays were really fun, and then you realize how much of that was like what I liked was the day drinking.
Yeah.
Because it lubricates everything, so like you're not impatient, you're not irritated, so everything is fun and funny, and it's a good time. And then when you're sober, you have to go through like just so much awkwardness and boredom and all these bad emotions,
which is just life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like people don't want to face like real emotions.
Hard, though.
Yeah.
But I was sober a lot of years before I tried comedy, so it kind of brought back into my life something similar, like when I went to bars.
Yeah.
Like just like a constant stream of weird people and fun events.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh, it's weird that I had all those years where I was sober and I wasn't doing comedy, because that was like it. I didn't feel sad at the time, but when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, that wasn't. Yeah. It was kind of a sad life.
Kind of missed the random one night stands. Like you just you wake up somewhere where you have to like calibrate yourself for a second.
Find a piece of mail.
Well, I'd have to go.
And if you're in London, Ontario, sometimes you have to get on a 45-minute bus ride.
Yeah, I walked around. I don't know why they call it the walk of shame. It should be like a proud walk. You hooked up with somebody.
It's an odyssey.
Yeah.
Especially like because I get anxiety, so there's like a duration of time that I have to get home before that kicks in.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. It's like a countdown clock. Like then the crying shower.
More like the panic attack shower.
Oh, okay. So what made you stop drinking?
Like full alcoholism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it like hidden? Would you like go to work? You're still functioning.
I was like, it was apparent to like everyone around me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. Like we've known each other for a while. We've never really talked about. You don't make it like your identity, and so neither do I. It's just something.
Yeah. And I think because I'm like, I do have like an accountant vibe. So people are like, like, can I swear in front of you, Karen? And I'm like, you can smoke crack in front of me. Like people have done that.
Although I've been like through a lot of life, and I've seen some of the most put together people are the people that let loose on the weekends and stuff. Yeah.
Actually,
I've seen it.
And weird things like, well, it's a stereotype that engineers are the group at the university that drink the most. I feel like pure math people are all potheads. Yeah. Like I'm like.
What did you major in?
I majored in poli-sci history. Okay. And I feel like my overall thing, I fit into like history people a lot. Like I read a lot. Yeah. I'm uptight. Yeah. But in a like open-minded uptight. Yeah. Like I'm uptight about myself. I'm open about other people.
That's dope.
So and history people are like a drinking people.
Oh, okay. What do you mean you're uptight about yourself? What does that mean?
Like I just like I think all my emotions are like too much, so it's like I'm stressed out easily by things.
Yeah.
But I'm not like I'm not closed about like, oh, everyone has to act right and like behave this way.
That's kind of dope. I kind of like that. But do you do therapy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And your therapist has told you don't just allow these feelings sometimes?
Well, I guess like a lot of my therapy was like specifically around panic disorder.
Oh, okay.
So that's a lot of what do they call it? Like exposure therapy. So like when something's fearful for you want to do it in like small doses, and a lot of like making sure you have lots of relaxation in your day-to-day life.
Okay. That's interesting. I heard a theory about therapy is a lot of like talking about your problems, and that can create more problems. If you're like, you know, these people who, because I'm big into gratitude right now. I saw James was on here talking about it.
He was awesome.
Did some research before I came on, caught the vibe. And I'm big into gratitude. And so I find that, like, I was at a bus stop today, and like all the TTC wasn't running, and everybody at the bus stop was just like, where's the bus? This sucks. And like, it just became this echo chamber of like complaints.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm judging therapy a little bit. I think therapy, if it becomes this complaint session, it can be unhealthy as well, no?
Yeah. I think like some therapy is like very targeted, and you're learning like specific techniques to fix your problem.
Yeah.
Some therapy is about self-discovery, and I think that's where sometimes people just go for years just chatting with a therapist who isn't.
Yeah. I think it's just rich people that pay for a friend to listen, no? No. But it's an expensive thing. It's not available to everyone.
No.
So, do you have any alternatives?
Oh, this is sad. Somebody in the comedy scene told me, because he can't afford therapy, he was just Googling or YouTube. He was looking his symptoms up on YouTube.
Okay.
And that made me really sad. But I do kind of think that because everyone's on these mental health journeys, there is a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
Right? And you can like, but then it's crazy because people go online and they end up indoctrinated. I don't.
Yeah. That's how I became a comedian.
Do you feel like you do like therapy on stage?
Yeah, for sure. And you just said the word journey. That's why I was laughing. I'm like, sometimes you're not on a journey. Maybe you're just an asshole, right? Like, you know how these people talking about journeys, like there's just, you know, you're not supposed to behave that way. Like, human beings are really interesting, because it's like, I think and that's where gratitude comes in. Once it's all about me.
Yeah.
That's when I think problems set in, right? I think there needs to be something bigger than yourself.
Yeah. And if you don't have, like, I do get the thing with like ruminating. I don't think therapy's ruminating, but I do think some people make themselves anxious. Yeah. Because they're not doing enough with their life, and they're not. I also think exercising is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
And like, yeah, just.
No, the exercising, like, that's what they tell you to do, right? And that's why I'm trying to get back into. Like, I notice when I'm not doing well, it's because I'm not doing. Like, summers I do better. Yeah. Right? Because you're just kind of just walking around and doing stuff and sweating and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I feel like for me, my mental health is like staying sober, exercising, and then just regularly doing things that make me a little bit nervous. Yeah. So getting out and doing stuff.
It's about knowing yourself too, right? So you know, okay, I know what gets me out of these funks, right? Take a shower, read a book, get out and exercise. So you know I think everybody knows how to get back to like the defaults, right? Yeah. But we just don't always do it. And so for me, you talked about the comedy, definitely therapy, doing comedy, but I don't use it as therapy. I think it's a little selfish to like go on stage and like. And rant.
Did you always want to be a comic?
When I look back, yeah. So like, I've been telling people, go back to what you wanted to be as a kid. I always wanted to be an entertainer. Yeah. I wanted to maybe be in the movies. I wanted to write movies. I would like do little movies with my brothers and force them to be roles in my little movies. I had a little fake studio set up in my room with a light.
That's amazing.
And like, I was pretending to be like a talk show host and stuff. So.
Oh my God.
Like, so when you look back, you're like, I've always been a comedian. And I think stand-up comedy is the end all be all. I think there's nothing better than stand-up comedy. Just in terms of the freedom.
Yeah.
Right?
It's cool too. Like, I was thinking, I don't know, what you can say with a stand-up set is so personal. Like, you don't have to filter it through different characters. Like, you can just say some things like straight directly. Like, I don't like taking the fucking bus.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can call out specific people in your life you don't like. Or you could be, I don't know, you can just sort of do anything, like, wherever it takes you.
And then that's the gift and the curse, right? Because people are like, hey, you can't say that. And it's like, I had to tell some lady in the crowd, I'm like, this is stand-up comedy. This is the context you're here for.
Yeah.
I'm not at like a political rally or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird reminding people, like, I'm a stand-up comedian while you're on stage.
But that's like, it's the thing where people are like being logical all the time and they can't like break out of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that lady might have like thought about it later and regretted it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't yell at comedians at shows, but I do go through my life and then think about it later in the day. Like, I didn't need to take that on the nose. Like, I could have.
I think that's growth. I've started being better. Like, I remember every situation in my 20s was like, you can't talk, is a personal, like, you can't talk to me like that or this and that. Now it's just like,
What were you doing in your 20s?
A lot of bullshit.
Did you go to university?
I went to college. I have a couple of marketing diplomas from Fanshawe. And I wasn't passionate about anything. So I started a little moving company. I did this that sold. I was a used car salesman. And like, I liked it, but I never loved it. My mom was always like, you're lazy. But I was. And then the reason I knew I love comedy is because I go so hard with comedy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work to me. And so that's how I kind of knew.
It's funny. It's like, I think a lot of us do something like practical, but we don't have the stamina to do it well. So it's like it's better to take the risk and try to get into the thing that you can be full-fledged with.
Passion is the best fuel. You know, like if you love something. I love seeing somebody that loves their job. That's what happens when you love your job. You start now identifying it in society too. You're like this. Like, I went to Tim Hortons the other day, and like the manager was just like problem solving, doing stuff, and I'm like, that's dope. Like, you're taking your job seriously, and you can tell she loves it. You know, and it's cool seeing somebody that loves their job. And then you get people who have resentment towards you. They're like, oh, you have a sick job, and like, you love your job. I hate mine. Yeah. So you got to be careful, like, boasting. It almost feels like boasting.
It's like if you're rich and you're going on all these trips, do you want to post that on Instagram and make everyone else hate you?
But at some point, I can't. You know what I mean? I can't filter my life for you or dim my light.
And I think for the most part, it will inspire other people to do their thing, which might be a big like artistic away from the job, but it might just be like, I'm gonna go work at a different company or a different line of work.
So I get it both ways, where it's like, at the beginning, people would come up to me like, I'm funnier than you. That's such a weird thing to say. I think I'm gonna get into comedy too, and I think that's just projecting. If like they didn't follow their dreams, or I don't know what it is. But now I get a lot of like, yo man, I'm really proud of you, like that's dope what you're doing, and like I've actually wanted to do this, you know, and I might try it.
It's funny sometimes, like the people you find out who are really supportive of you, like people I don't even know that well, will just be like, so you're this is great. I'm so proud of you.
That's what and they'll like all your posts and stuff, and they don't know you that well. They're just supportive, good people. Yeah. And then secretly there'll be people that close to you in your life that are feeling some type of way about it. Because at the beginning, my mom is my biggest support. She's never been to a show. I won London Entertainer of the Year.
Oh my God. Congrats.
Thank you. And it was a cool moment because it was the first time my mom ever saw me do stand-up, but it was just it was at an award show. So I did 10 minutes, and like the police chief was there, so I roasted him, and like they weren't like laughing that hard. Like, they didn't know that there was going to be stand-up in between all these musical acts. So my mom is so awesome. She's like, they didn't get you. That's what she said. It wasn't a complete bomb. Like, it was a good, for what the room was, it was okay. Yeah. But that was the first time she's ever seen me do stand-up, but she's been my biggest supporter.
I'm glad she got to see you roast the police chief.
It was weird. He's Asian, and it's like, he just became the police chief. Yeah. And it must have been so awkward for him. But she let me. I moved back home during the pandemic, so that got me started and all that stuff. So she's been a great supporter. She'd make fun of me at the beginning. I'd be like, "I'm going to do a show." She goes, "Are you gonna make $12 tonight?" I was like,
no.
No, maybe not, but
Some of the money in comedy is the funniest part.
yeah, I get like a $10 deposit. But I will tell you that I didn't like that part of comedy where people were so like, "Oh, you can't make any money in they're so negative about that part of comedy, or just in general. They'd be like so self-deprecating that it would like bleed out into like the money part or whatever. And I'll tell you right now, you can make money in comedy. There's lots of money in it. You just gotta produce and work hard. Like, you can't wait for Yuck Yucks and all these places to give you handout. Like, even if you did a major club every weekend, you wouldn't make that much money.
Yeah.
Like, headliners get paid $250 a night at Yuck Yucks or whatever it is. So you're talking about $2,000 a month as a headliner. So you got to go out and do your own stuff. You know, produce your own things.
I think too, somebody was saying to me, like, they were like, by the time you're good enough to get signed to somewhere like Yuck Yucks, you're already producing your own stuff and making the same. So it's like you get someone, they do it for you now, which might let you focus on other revenue streams, but it's not the...
Yeah, they're just... And cool opportunities come. As you work hard, people see you as a hard worker, you network. Like, I hosted a Super Bowl party for a rec room. They paid me a lot of money to watch the Super Bowl. I didn't do that much. You know what I mean? It's because
that actually sounds amazing.
Yeah, like, so you get opportunities. Like, I did a commercial this summer. So you start getting these little side gigs, but you can't lose the focus of why you're getting them. You're a stand-up comedian. I think some people lose the...
Okay.
Yeah.
I see this a lot when I watch people's stand-up specials, and I'm like, this is just a one-person show. You're not really doing punchlines.
No.
Like, I shouldn't... If I'm like 10 minutes into your Netflix special, like, you should have done a lot of punchlines by now.
I think it's a lot of followers now. It's about who has followers, and they're not necessarily stand-up comedians. And I think that's fine, too. There's lots of different styles.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go... And the way people consume comedy, too, they don't always want to hear jokes, which is weird. Like, there's storytellers out there that tell, 10-minute stories without a punchline.
Yeah.
And I always find it funny that they do this in a stand-up... They do this in a comedy club, though.
Yeah.
Right? You think you just do a one-man show. So, yeah, that is interesting. But it's more about popularity now. And what's sad is, like, by the time... In a couple years, I don't think it will matter if you have I think Netflix won't matter. It's almost like becoming not a big deal now.
Like, just because everyone will sort of self-produce.
Like, I'll go on Netflix. Yeah, but I'll go on Netflix and see, like, this comedian. I'm in the industry, and I'll see somebody has, like, 2 specials. I've never heard of them. You know? So it's like, okay. It's become this, like, watered-down thing where I think a lot of people get Netflix specials now. It's not this special. Do you remember when we were younger? Or like a Chris Rock or a Dave Chappelle would drop.
Yeah.
Or Sarah Silverman. It'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
You know? Now I feel like it's not a big deal.
Is it just because there's a lot of it?
Yeah, and like, when's the last time like you were like excited about, like you watched it the night it came out or something? Right?
I still feel that like Nate Bargatze is still putting stuff out. When he puts something out, I'm like right away.
He's amazing, but he's the exception to the rule. He's one of the biggest comedians in the world.
Yeah.
Right? There's probably like no more than 10 of like his caliber of comedian.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of people where I liked a special I saw of theirs and I haven't looked for the next one.
Like the last time I watched the night it came out was Jamie Foxx, and it was less of a stand-up and more of like inspirational hour. Which is because he talked about his illness and blah, blah, blah.
What did he have?
He had this mystery illness, and they said P. Diddy gave it to him or something, but he talked about it. It was like he was very sick. He was in a coma and like...
Was it just from knowing Sean Combs?
I don't know what it was, man. That's very weird when they say mystery illness.
Honestly, I feel like, though, it's par for the course. Everyone has a mystery illness. Like, there's a lot of weird autoimmune shit. And
you can't tell somebody they have a mystery illness, though. Just make up a name.
Make it up.
Make it up. Don't tell me if your doctor coming out and being like, I have a mystery illness. I went to the Emerge like a couple years ago, and the guy walked away, and I just Googled what I had. And then I saw his screen, and he was just Googling. The doctor was just Googling stuff. I'm like, oh, what am I doing here?
But I feel like they also get mad at you if you come in and you've researched online. They're like, don't look it up online.
You have to play dumb.
I'll look it up online.
You have to play dumb. That's like when the audience is funnier than you when you're doing crowd work and they're like telling jokes. You're like, hey, don't Google this. It's like this. It's like, I tell people it's easier to be a comedian than you think. It's just perseverance, though, right? And it's not about being funny. Like my door, you know what I mean? Like there's.
Oh yeah.
The guy at the coffee shop is hilarious, you know. But can he take it on stage? Can he, like, write and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And gut it out. That's the issue. Like I have 5 friends that are way funnier than me.
I think, is this like a fact with every comedian that you have like your funnier friends or funnier family members?
I think that's just the par for the course. Yeah.
I think part of it is like you have to get a high off of being on stage.
Oh yeah, I definitely get high. That's my new high.
Yeah.
Because I don't drink, so that's how I get drunk. You ever just got off stage and almost didn't remember the first 2 minutes off stage? Just people saying awesome show or whatever. It's like I don't even talk to people as soon as they get off stage because I think that after a good set you're just so high. Like
there's also like a few times like I have certain memories of me like walking home like high from doing a show, but I can't remember which show it is. Like I can just remember like this song on my in the moon and shit like that, but I'm like I don't know which set that was.
Do you listen to specific music to get yourself ready for a set?
No, I always have the same kind of current playlist that if I'm walking, if I'm working out, I don't have separate mood music.
What does Karen Mitches listen to?
Oh, some really basic stuff, like almost like there's probably some Taylor Swift in there, like, but it just be like eclectic. Like if I'm watching Yellowstone right now, so I keep pulling like country songs off of.
I've been listening to a lot of country music, man. I don't like if you're around me lately. I listen to a lot of country. I love Zach Bryan.
Oh my God, he's so
good. He's a good songwriter.
I feel like for a long time, country music didn't have like all the best songwriters were in like outside of country, and now like in this past decade or so, like there's just so many of them coming out.
It's become
country.
Pop music essentially, though, a little bit too, and like it's just good. I have a joke about how country music are the new rappers. Like that's where it's going. They're the cool guys now. Rappers are doing weird stuff at parties. The oil. That baby oil. It's just so weird. Hasn't 2025 been so weird? Like I had so much optimism for 2025. And then right as we got into it, like forest fires, Trump, all this weird stuff.
I don't know, man. But I feel like things just fell apart in like 2020 and it never came back. We just keep going in new weird spaces. Yeah.
But it's like you can't make none of this stuff up. Like you could try to write it.
The tariffs is so weird.
I love.
And yeah, the 51st state comments.
I love for Trump. Oh my God! But I'm gonna regret this. But I love Trump as a comedian. Just so much to work with. But then it gets like serious. It starts affecting your life. Yeah. Like I lost a job because I have a Trump clip up talking about how much I love Trump.
Oh shit.
As a joke. Mm-hmm. And somebody, I was going to do this workshop for it was like a provincial thing. So it had to do with the government. And they went on my Instagram and they're like, this guy's too political. Oh. I don't do political jokes. I had one political joke. Yeah. And I posted it.
But to say you find Trump funny, was that?
No, in the clip I said I like Trump.
Oh no.
Yeah. As a comedian, I said I like Trump as a comedian.
Oh.
And so I don't know. But you know what? I'm kind of happy I didn't get the job. I don't want to work for people that want to censor. Yeah. I think on both extremes it gets so weird.
Yeah. I feel like you gotta give people leeway. Also, right now, there's a lot of people who just actively have been indoctrinated. Yeah. And we have to be like, well, are we going to make everyone like pariah in our society? Yeah. Because that's a lot of people. Like
100%. He got voted in by a lot of people.
How do we get everyone back to normal?
There's no normal. It's not coming back. And that's a good thing. Was it ever normal? I like people always like the good old days. I'm like, you guys were complaining in the good old days. And the good old days was a lot of racism. It's always white people saying good old days. Have you noticed that? It's like, it wasn't good for me, like for us. It's like, what? It wasn't great for women either. Like, do you really want to go back to the good old days? Like for the 50s?
My sister was saying the other day that she thinks like the reason why Hillary and Kamala are less likable is because to get onto that arena as a woman, you have to have like really good credentials, which means you're a nerd, which means you're not, it's not that you're a bad person, you're just not the kind of people like. She's like, in a non-sexist society, we could get Jennifer Aniston as president.
Yeah, we should. There was a rumor she was sleeping with Barack Obama.
Oh, I never heard that.
I shouldn't even put that out there, but who cares? You know, but like, she's probably just as qualified as these people. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I think she would do a great job.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
She's reasonable. She's smart. Like, she, you know, she's not an expert, but she would be able to suss out the experts, right?
She's a friend, you know. She's relatable. It's so, like, the American politics is just so weird. It's just celebrities now, right?
Yeah.
Like, Donald Trump is the president. Like,
yeah.
If somebody woke up in a coma, they'd just be like, what is going on? The guy from The Apprentice is the president now? It's like, what the? You know what
You're fired.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's good. How long have we been doing this for?
We're at an hour. This has been crazy.
That's how long you'd have to be on stage as a headliner.
Yeah.
That's a long... Do you think you could do an hour?
I only have 35 minutes of material.
Yeah. That's how guys feel in bed. It's like, we've tried all the good stuff. Now we're going to do a little filler. We're going to do a little bit of filler here.
Oh, yeah. I could stretch it out with some crowd work.
I had a joke about a comedy. I'm so into comedy that I started doing crowd work while having sex.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I like it.
And she didn't. The girl that I'm seeing is, like, all I talk about is comedy, and she's done a good job of like trying to, like, you know, there's more to life than comedy, but right now it's comedy, you know. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be. Are you obsessed with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we promote what shows do you have?
I have a monthly show. It's called Toronto Mandem Comedy Jam, and it's this hip hop type show. It's been selling out. It's at Real Jerk. It's once a month tour. It's like the second last Saturday every month. I have a weekly show in Parkdale at this new bar called Dystopia, formerly Tonight Bar. Did you do Tonight Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's new owners, but it's called Dystopia. It's a
good space.
It's an interesting space. It's it can be good. It's really long.
Yeah.
But weekly Tuesdays, good pros are gonna be
and
popping in.
And that's with Derek Kalala?
No, Derek. I have separated with Derek Kalala. We're still friends, Derek. I love you. I want to say hi and I miss you. But Derek has his own show on Wednesdays.
Okay.
I won't promote that.
Sorry.
No, just kidding. No. We just. I find that producing is already hard enough, and there was no like separation or anything like that. It just worked out perfect. But I find producing is already hard enough having a partner, and then you're dealing with the venue, and then you're dealing with the comics.
Yeah.
So yeah. I find I've been having success producing more because it's already hard enough to produce by yourself, right? Have you produced with a co-producer?
No, I've always done on my own.
Okay. So you don't know the stress of dealing with another co-producer. And it was amazing co-producer with Derek. Derek really helped me get into the scene. He's also my roommate. He's my best friend in the scene. So it's been good.
I like Derek a lot.
Yeah. That's where he's been on the pod.
Yeah.
That's when I was waiting to get on. I knew the hierarchy. I'm not her good friend. You know? Yeah.
Okay. So there's the Tuesdays at
Dystopia. It's called Dystopia, but it's 1704 Queen Street.
Okay. And then how do we get tickets if we want to go to your monthly?
You just go on Instagram, Laugh Out Lounge. That's the production company.
Laugh Out Lounge?
Yeah. Just get on there. The tickets are there, and it's been a blast. And then I'm regularly at the Corner on weekends.
Nice.
I'm a regular at the Corner, and then I do Yuck Yucks here and there. I'll actually be headlining. I haven't told anybody this. I'll be headlining Yuck Yucks Ottawa June 12th and 13th. My first weekend headlining Yuck Yuck, so I'm excited.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, Gee.
Thank you for having me. Full moon. Is it? No, I'm playing.